Plam definition: the act of slamming a man's head into your pussy, by grasping the ears of the man and pulling face towards pussy at a high rate of speed, has been known to leave a pussy-shaped imprint on the dumb motherfucker's face.
Hello, motherfuckers, and welcome to the Plam Chowder podcast.
Hey, we are back, and we are actually live on YouTube today. Surprise, surprise.
You gotta love hearing that jingle, man.
Oh, man, it makes my day.
When those drums kick in.
We are, shout out to Proper 12.
Proper 12, man.
They are fueling our podcast today.
Everybody was talking shit about Conor McGregor's whiskey, but I gotta admit, I fucking like it. And if you don't like it, then you're probably a whiskey snob, and I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, you know, if it does the job, it does the job. All right, like
No, it does more than the job, though. It's smooth, man. Like I enjoy it. It tastes good, you know. It doesn't taste like ass. Like there's a lot of whiskey out there that tastes like ass, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is the best whiskey." I'm like, "Nah, bro, it tastes like ass."
yeah, I drink Jim Beam. Don't judge me.
I like this better than Jim Beam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, technically, I think Jim Beam. That's like some American shit, no?
Yes, sir. I mean, I want to say, I don't want to sound ignorant, but I want to say that like bourbon started here in America.
In what, like Kentucky or
Kentucky,
something?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's bourbon, and then there's whiskey, Irish whiskey. But cheers to Mr. McGregor for making some bomb whiskey, because I think this is like probably like the 6th or 7th time I bought the bottle for the podcast. So
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to put this stream out to everybody. This is something new. Again, we're continuing to evolve and elevate our podcast. So we want to continue to bring you guys the content that you guys want. On today's soup, we really don't have like too much of a structure. So it's going to be, I labeled it rambling and gambling.
real quick too, I'm watching the feed here, and I think it's like on a bit of a delay, which is kind of cool because it's like watching the past, you know. But anyways, yeah. So rambling and gambling, and the reason for the gambling is because I've recently developed a gambling addiction.
Oh man,
it's fucking.
Yeah, buddy.
And I love it. It's the best thing ever. I wish I would have had a gambling addiction a long time ago. I mean, but I'm in the what's it called? Like the honeymoon stage at the moment. So,
okay.
This might be turned into a very toxic relationship where we end up having a very rough divorce, and I end up with no house and no car, and yeah.
What got you to this point? You just needed a new hobby, or
no? So I have a friend who's like a huge degenerate gambler, and he literally bets on everything. So straight up, he bets. I love the new soundboards. he bets on everything, man. So like it could be anything from like soccer to football to fights to freak. I think he bet on like the presidential election, like just tons of. Oh, today he was betting on a virtual simulation of, I think, like Arsenal versus fucking some other team.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like you know how on FIFA.
Yeah, everyone's doing like e games right now because they can't play in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was betting on a simulation of a game. And and what's even crazier is there's hella people watching this stream.
Like how
on
many?
This gambling site, and everybody has money on the game, and it's not even a real game.
Oh wow.
It's a computer.
Wait, no. It's like it's players playing FIFA, right?
No, bro. Okay,
it's just like it's AI versus AI.
Yes.
Why?
Yes. It's AI versus AI.
Oh my god.
Like if you turn on FIFA and then you put both controllers, I guess, to the middle. Mm-hmm. It's just like computer versus computer, and people are watching this shit like putting hella money on it.
Oh no way, dude.
Yeah, man. People, there's some true degenerates out there.
Dude, that's crazy. Wow.
But,
so yeah. So how'd you get into it?
So anyways, he's been into the gambling scene for years, for like I think like 5-6 years at this point. And I've always hated gambling because when I first turned 18, that was like one of the cool things you can do or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
And I remember going to Jackson Casino, I think it's called.
Oh, dude.
You know Jackson.
I know. You just, dude, it's like I'm having Vietnam flashbacks right now. Like, oh god, y'all might have heard the Jackson story, but it's that's for another podcast.
We'll get into it right now. What happened at Jackson? But so when I turned 18, me and a few friends went to Jackson Casino. It's like I think like 2 hours away or something, and I was broke at the time. I didn't have any money. I think I took like $100 with me, and I lost it within not even an hour. Like
sounds about right.
Yeah, like 40 minutes. And then what the fuck do I do for the rest of the night? I just watch my.
That was him at the casino.
Yeah, I came in all excited, and then I was like, "Oh, so like this is gambling? This is what it's all about? This sucks." You know, I just lost $100 for no reason in 45 minutes. I didn't even have fun. I didn't even enjoy it. And I think all my other friends lost all their money too. It just took them longer. So ever since that day, I was like, fuck gambling. So like when we would go to Vegas, like I would never gamble. I was just like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Never, ever gambled ever again since that day. Even with like sports betting, when people are like betting on anything. So, what got me into it was, I'd say lately for like the past 6 months or so, I've just been on a roll, bro. Like calling fights. Every time a fight happens, I'm like, this dude's gonna win in this round. Watch. And I've been right a bunch of times, but
No.
I would never put money on it though. I'd always just say like, watch, this is going to happen, and then this is going to be the result, and it's going to happen in this round, and it would always hit, but I would never put money on it. So, anyways, we have this sports chat, like a group chat, and about a week and a half ago, I was like, fuck it, man. Let me create an account. Because, like, I'll drop like $40 into the account, $50, and just see what happens. I'll bet like $5 here and there, $10. Who gives a shit? It's $50, right? And he taught me how it all works, like the parlays and like the inside distance.
What's a parlay? Like you're betting on more than one match?
Yeah. So parlays, you can bet on like, 2, 3 fights, 4 fights, 5 fights, whatever, like as much as you want, but they all have to land. So like, all your fighters have to win.
It's like fights. Bingo.
Yeah, like you got to say like, this dude's gonna win this fight. This guy's gonna win that fight. Like they all have to win their fights.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually pretty fun. So, anyways, he explained how everything works, and he's like, here's a referral link, and you'll get a bonus, like 50% bonus, however much you deposit. They'll give you half of it for free to like start out.
That's how they get you.
But it got me, bro. So, yeah, I created the account like an hour before the UFC card started, and I chose all my bets. I chose my parlay. I made a few other bets. Dude, every single one of my bets hit. And it went from like me putting $40 into it, and then it turned into like $180 in like a few hours. And
oh wow!
And I wasn't doing anything different. I was still watching the fights, but now I was even enjoying the fights even more because I had something at stake,
Mm-hmm.
So it like made it even funner to watch the fights.
Makes it more intense,
right? And yeah. So I was like, "Fuck, this is amazing! Like, why the hell why haven't I been doing this for years?" So there's been a bunch of boxing matches because boxing is back now on ESPN, and I don't know shit about a lot of these fighters, but I can kind of just like look at the odds and do a little bit of research and sort of figure out like, all right, this dude's gonna win or like whatever, and like do my parlays and all that, and just set everything up right. So I've only lost one bet out of like 10 or 12 bets in the past like week and a half since
So
I've created the account.
You're up right now.
I'm up big time. And it feels good to be up. However, I did notice like you get a little reckless because like I was telling you, I made a kind of a reckless bet yesterday and I only won it because I got super it was like the luckiest shit ever. Like I should not have made that bet. And the thing is too, that my boy does, he makes a lot of like kind of smaller bets, but they stack up over time.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like
He's playing the long con.
Yeah, exactly.
The short game. Not the short game, but yeah.
Very like super strategic.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah, I'm sure, my luck's gonna run out eventually, and but whatever, man, it's fun. And at this point, all that money that's in my account now, like the gambling account on that site, it's like money I've won, so I don't even care. It's not like money I put into it.
Yeah.
And so I don't give a shit if I bet if I bet $50 on.
So you started with 50.
Yeah.
And where are you at now?
I'm around 300, a little over 300.
Go. Yeah.
So like, yeah, if I put $50 on a fight or something, it's like it's technically not even my money
At that point.
Yeah.
It's just earnings.
Right. And it's funny because so this site is not located in they're not based in the U.S. and it's all hella sketch. They're like based.
Is it Bovada? What is it?
Yeah, Bovada.
Bovada. Okay.
So they're based. I forget which country, and then all their banks are like in other countries and stuff. So
Shit's hella sketch, bro.
hella sketch. So if you withdraw your money and you want to check, they send you like a check from like Singapore or some other weird ass country, and it takes like a month to get your money.
Oh.
But so I was talking to my other friend who also like bets a shit ton of money on that site, and what he does is you can convert all your funds into Bitcoin.
Oh God.
So what he does is he set up a Bitcoin wallet on Cash App, converts all the funds into Bitcoin, transfers it into his Bitcoin wallet, which is like instant, and then from there converts it into USD, and it's just a way faster process. So that's what I'm going to start doing.
Damn.
Going from USD to Bitcoin back to USD.
Damn, dude.
Sort of like laundering your money almost.
It's like crypto, man.
Yeah, I'm fucking with crypto now.
I have Robin and is it Robin or Robin Hood?
Robinhood.
Robinhood, and they, you can buy like cryptocurrency now, but it's, I don't know, man. It's kind of cryptocurrency is really sketch.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know shit about cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I think it was like invented to kind of like do that money launder, because there's no way, like once you initiate a transfer or whatever, there's no way to like get it back. You know what I mean? So it's like as soon as you send someone Bitcoin, it's like there's no trace or anything, man. It's just like it's like a currency that has no paper trail. I think that's why it was invented in the first place.
And that's actually why my friend, you know him, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just not gonna say his name, but that's why he does it too, because he's like, there's no paper trail.
Yeah.
Because let's say you start betting big money and you want to withdraw like, I don't know, like $5,000 or something, 10 grand, whatever, right? There's no paper trail for that. So it's not like you have to claim it on your taxes or some shit. You can't really get in trouble for it.
Yeah. I think eventually they're going to find a way to like tax you for it, or, the government, Uncle Sam's going to want his money.
I don't even know if this is legal. Because, dude, I don't know. Because, gambling is not legal in California except for like very specific places, right? Is that how it works?
Oh, you mean like
gambling in general?
I honestly don't know.
I don't think it's legal in California, and like a shit ton of other states. And then plus this website is not, it's not in the U.S. technically.
Yeah, how does that even work?
Even though it's like marketed for the U.S. market, it's all in English, like American shit.
Yeah,
it's just not in America to get around, I guess, the laws or whatever. So, and when you sign up, they send you an email that basically says like, hey, by the way, this is pretty sketch. what we're doing. It just says it very eloquently in like legal terms and shit.
Yeah, it's like this is like super sketchy. You know, we're not liable for anything that happens on this point on.
Pretty much. Yeah, dude. And I remember getting the email. I was like, dude, this is so fucking sketch. But whatever. Like, I know people that have used it for 6 years and they've never ever had a problem with it. So yeah, I mean, fuck it, man. It's just another form of income at this point. As long as you play the game right. You got to play the game right. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I gambled was like when I went to Jackson and I had a bad experience. So like I really have stayed away from gambling. The only time I've like gambled recently was like boxing fights. And the way we do it, at least like when I was doing it, it was terrible. It's like you take the 12 rounds, you put them in a hat, and then everybody pays like $10-20. And then you just pick a random round out of the hat. And
that's bullshit, though.
And then that's like it's the stupidest like way to bet.
You don't even get to pick your round,
Yeah. So like you're fucked. Like if you ever get the first round or, you're fucked.
Oh, yeah, dude. Well, see, so you can do that too on these sites, but you get to actually choose the round, which is, I mean, you can, sometimes you're like, I got a feeling with like how both of these fighters matched up. It's going to be sort of like a later round. I'll throw it on round 8 or something like that, round 8 and 9.
Yeah.
But the whole hat game, that's
some Mexican shit right there.
That's just some lucky bullshit, man. Like loteria. You're just playing loteria at that point.
Yeah. It's just like, you got some spare change. Why not do it, But it's definitely not it's not precision. It's not like gambling. My question is like, is it illegal for an athlete to gamble?
So I was thinking about that too. Not even like an athlete, but I was thinking about
like referees.
No, I think that's hell of illegal because they have a direct control over the outcome of the game. But I was wondering, so like a coach, can a coach gamble on his own team?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, the whole organization, like if you're involved as a player, as a manager, I don't care if you're a masseuse for the team or like if you're a referee, like there's got to be some type of restrictions, I would think.
Yeah, and like a player too, because they have a direct involvement of the outcome of the fight. Mm-hmm. So I just would feel like that'd be illegal. But like then again, I don't know shit. So that's a good question for Caesar later.
Yes, we have premeditated, selected our celebrity shot. We're excited to have a phone call with him later on the show.
Oh, fuck. Wait, what are we looking at here? Are these?
Oh, yeah. I wanted to. This is our little segue into our listeners. We have listeners in the United States, in France, Romania, and the United Kingdom. So shout out to all you guys out there listening to us worldwide. We worldwide now.
Straight up.
Let's go.
Hold on. These people are like listening right now.
No, there are our all-time listeners right now.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Since we made our transition to Anchor, so they gave us analytics, and we have a 47% following in France.
Damn, and then the U.S. is also the big majority.
51% in the United States. We have less than 1% in Romania and less than 1% in the U.K. But
holy shit, man! People in France, fuck yeah! Thank you.
Yeah, we love France. I mean, I've been to Paris, I've been to Lyon. I had some of the best experiences in my life out there. So shout out to you guys. And
I'm gonna bite my tongue on that one.
Oh well, you might have had different experience than I did, but when I was in Paris, I remember I went to my hostel, and then I was just let me go walk around, and then I went to like a bar, and I went there. I just kept to myself. I stayed silent, and I was just like drinking. And dude, there's this French guy giving me like dirty looks, and I was like, let me talk to this guy. And then I was like, hey man, like I'm trying to go see Paris Saint-Germain, the football club here. He's like are they doing like stadium tours and stuff? And he's like, I'm not from here, I'm from like Mexico. And then he's like, oh, I thought you were Spanish. I fucking hate Spaniards. He's like, you're Mexican? And then, dude, I was like, yeah, man. I came from a long, far away land to like come here for football. He's like, He looked at the bartender. He said something in French. He's like, "I got your drinks for the rest of the night." I was
No,
like,
wait. He was a Mexican French guy?
No, I said I'm Mexican, but he realized that I wasn't Spaniard,
Oh, okay.
and he's like, "I got your drinks for the rest of the night. You're cool."
Okay, so he was French.
He was French. He was a native.
I got you. So
Yeah.
he thought you were a Spaniard. Got
Which
you.
I guess like they hate each other. It makes sense because they're neighbors.
Do
you know?
they? I didn't know that.
I don't know. I mean, it makes sense, bro.
Dude, I feel like French people fucking hate a lot of people, man.
Yeah, but I understand. Like I totally understand, man. Like if you like when I went to France, I was completely blown away with like the art, with like the sculptures, with just the culture in general. It's like, yo, you guys have so much going on for your country. I can understand where the arrogance comes from, because you look at you go to the Louvre, like, you know, the Louvre,
Yeah.
like the pyramid, like the museum. It's underground. You look at all this art and stuff. You're like, what the fuck does the United States have? We got nothing. We got chopped liver. I don't know. I don't know. What
We got riots and protests.
We got.
Well, they got that too over there.
We got the Statue of Liberty that they gave us.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
it's like, I understand where the, you know, when foreigners come into your country and they're like, oh, big deal, like the Eiffel Tower, big whoop. You know what I mean? Like, I understand where they have so much pride in their own country. Like, I understand like their argument, because, dude, can you agree with me that the worst tourist on earth is the American tourist?
I can 100% agree with you, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, I could. So, when I went to Europe, I spent about close to a week, kind of like on my own at first in Madrid. And yeah, I tell people I'm from the U.S., but I also tell them I'm Mexican. So,
Yep.
just to kind of like, it takes the heat off me, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I'm the type of person where, like, I just want to get along with everybody, whatever. I'm not like your stereotypical or American tourist, right? Having said that, I had a great time. And then my friend met up with me. Andrew, I love you, but you are the most stereotypical American tourist ever. This dude was like shouting Donald Trump.
Oh, God.
He's not a Donald Trump supporter, but he was just fucking with people.
He was just trolling.
Yeah, but like super like stereotypical American tourist, and completely changed the whole vibe of the trip after that. Which at first I was like, god damn it, like, why do you gotta be so American, dude? You're like, people like hate us right now. But after a while, I started thinking it was kind of funny, because I think he was doing it on purpose.
Yeah, he was trolling hard.
Yeah. And yeah, he'd be like, he'd go up to people and be like, yeah, America's the best goddamn country in the world. America, baby. Donald Trump, baby. He's like, yeah, what do you got here? You got fucking tapas? Fuck that. We got Carl's Jr. and hamburgers.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's like shit like that.
Dude, the scary part is Americans think that way.
Yeah, he was just fucking around.
He was just trolling, but...
Yeah, but anyway, so when we got into France... he had some bad experiences, because I remember we went to what do you call it? A shish kebab place, or like, what the fuck do you call those places? Kebab place. Yeah. It was pretty late, and there was like a bunch of French dudes in there. We ordered our stuff, and then, you know, a free drink comes with your meal. So he went to the fridge and he got a water, right? And then somebody, like one of the French guys, was like, "Oh, don't get a water, because they give you tap water here." And then Andrew's like, "No, it's cool. I just want the bottled water." And then the French guy was like, "Oh, what's the matter, mate? You guys don't drink tap water in the U.S. You're too good for it." Or he said something like that, right? Trying to be a dick. And Andrew, just being Andrew, this was fucking hilarious. He goes, he didn't skip a beat, man. He goes, "No, we drink fucking toilet water in the U.S." That was his response. And all the French dudes were so, like, they didn't know what to say. They just stared at him. Dude, I died, man. Because they were trying to make fun of him.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, like, you think you're too good to drink tap water?" And he's like, you're like, yo, you don't drink that in the U.S.? They're like, no, in the U.S. we drink fucking toilet water. And so you like one up them, and they all shut up, dude. And like, but then he got hella pissed off. He's like, fuck these, uptight French motherfuckers. And then it was so like that was number one. And then the next day it was kind of funny. By the way, France, I love you. So I'm not talking shit here.
I fuck with you guys.
Yeah,
hard.
I'm not talking shit here. I'm
Y'all
just
over there protesting with us, so I respect that.
Yeah, I love you guys. So like, don't think I like don't like France or something. I'm just saying what happened here.
This is a story. This is story time.
Yeah. The next day, hold on, let me take a sip of this bomb whiskey.
Straight up.
I love it. The next day, we are at a grocery store trying to buy some whiskey. And you can obviously tell we're American. We're speaking English with American accents and stuff.
Yeah.
There's this random French dude. Dude, he was wearing a fucking weirdest sweater I've ever seen. It was like one of those ugly sweaters people wear on Christmas.
Oh, okay.
But all like bedazzled. And this dude is super French. And he just shouts out from like down the aisle, Americans! and we look at him, we're like, yeah, what's up? He's like, oh, what do you think about Donald Trump? I'm like, what the fuck? Bro, like, what? That's such a strange ass like question to just shout at people that you've never seen in your life, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. So he walks right up to us, and he's like, yeah, I want to know what you think or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, he's a fucking dirtbag. He's an asshole. We don't like him. No one likes him in America except for like the fucking rednecks and hillbillies and whatever, right? And then this dude, bro, like middle of the grocery store wants to have like an hour-long conversation about just everything, which actually kind of turned out to be sort of cool.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I don't need, like, we talked to this guy for 40 minutes.
Oh, what?
40 minutes, bro.
Oh, wow.
And it went from like, I have no idea who you are, to we're talking about some deep ass shit.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it actually ended up kind of like in a cool way where he got an understanding of our perspective. He was like telling us about the shit going on in France. And then, bro, like he straight up invited us to like his house. And I guess he like lived near some beach or something like that. I don't fucking know, bro. Like he's like, you gotta come with me tomorrow, and
wow.
Yeah, I show you around. And like, by the way, my French accent's fucking shitty, so I'm sorry. So I don't know if that dude wanted to fuck us or something. But
nah, that's just the vibe out there, man. That's why I loved Europe so much. Is like the vibe is so opening. Like people are so social. People like, dude, I became like best friends with people. Like just random nights going to Las Ramblas in Barcelona.
Good times.
Las Ramblas and La Discoteque, and
that's the best walk of shame in my life.
Perico on the beach, and it's crazy, man. Like I love Europe so much. So shout out to our listeners out there that are worldwide. Romania, man. I really don't know much about it. I know that it's like Transylvania. I know that's like in Romania.
Dracula's castle.
Hagi, who's like one of their best like football players of all time, and one of the best football players of all time, not just in Romania but worldwide. So I respect that. UK. I love the UK, man. Like,
I work for a UK company.
Yeah.
I talk to my coworkers are all from the UK.
Yeah, exactly.
I fucking love the UK. The UK, dude, they have it all, man. They have good banter. They have.
I just love their humor and their slang, and we picked it up, man. And just like,
yeah, like it's funny because you and me started using like British slang kind of just as a joke at first.
Yeah,
we would say mate all the time.
Mate,
but
dag,
like. Slag,
yeah.
Like, hey, it's a fit bird, whatever, right? Like all that.
Oh yeah, fit bird. I love that.
Oh, like Muppets, like oh look at this fucking Muppet right here, whatever, right? All that UK shit, and it was just fun to say, but it turned into part of our vocabulary because we would say it so much that just ended up being how we talked after a while.
Yeah,
right? And I still talk like that, dude.
Same.
And what's funny is everybody that hangs out with us eventually starts talking
They
like
start
that.
using it too.
Yeah.
Our group chats are like, mate, this and yeah, it's amazing. I love it.
It just spreads, you know? It's contagious.
It's contagious, man. Like I started using Reco. Like I recommend.
Yes.
I use Reco a lot. People
Wait, is
are
that
like,
a UK thing?
It's not a UK thing. It's just something I just started doing because it makes so much more sense. And like people are like, oh, this is stupid. I'm like, why do you use Reco? I'm like, cause it's just
The boiler room.
yeah.
That's where we got it from Caesar, I think.
Yeah, boiler room, man. Oh, dude.
No, but so sometimes when I speak, I forget that like Americans don't say that. Which is funny because I remember when I was in London getting onboarded, I would be hanging out with like all the UK guys and we'd be having drinks and shit, and I'd be throwing around mate and shit. I'd be like, yeah, mate. So this is like what we, and then dude, they did give me like the funniest looks, bro. Like, no, like a few people didn't say anything. They'd just be like, what the fuck? They give me like this weird look. But then I remember one guy was like, what do you mean, mate? Like, how'd you learn? Like, how'd you?
That's our shit. That's not your shit. Like, hold up.
Yeah, like, how'd you learn how to speak like this? Like, how do you, like, do you talk like this all the time? And I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, I don't know, man. You guys got fucking cool slang, bro. And I just started using your slang.
Yeah.
But it threw them off at first. Remember, too, while we were in Europe, we were in some other country. Fuck, I forget what. I think we were like in Spain or something. And I was drunk as shit. And I was throwing mate around like crazy, you know, like, oh, mate, look, this is what you. And then the guy was like, are you like fucking British or something? He's like, I thought you were American. Are you fucking British? Like, I'm hella confused. And I was like, oh, dude, yeah, my bad. Like, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just how I talk now.
Yeah, we definitely aren't like, I don't know. And I'm sure this is something similar that a lot of first generation immigrants feel like is like, or not first gen. Well, it's like your parents are from a different country and you're the first ones born in America. We definitely like, we're more like, we feel like we're more Mexican than we are American. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people that have similar upbringings where like their parents aren't from here, they moved here for a better life. Like they definitely like they don't feel as American as most Americans do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and then you see the complete opposite where people like
no, I agree. Yeah, that's why it's funny because especially now that people are everybody's talking about politics, fucking everybody, and it's incredibly difficult to escape it. But anytime I'm like in a group chat and then the politics start coming out, it's so weird because I've never really gave a shit, to be honest. I do, but at the same time, I kind of feel like a spectator. Even with all this stuff going around, it's like I still kind of feel like a spectator almost because, I mean, my parents, you know, they vote and stuff, but for the most part, we just stay out of this shit.
Yeah.
You know, we're not like, I don't hold like super strong beliefs like, oh man, I'm a Democrat, you're a Republican,
right.
Fuck you. And then I start bringing up like all this like, yeah, that's why this senator, blah, blah, blah. And she has she leans to the left and her views on this. And,
oh, dude.
And I'm just like, bro, who gives a shit? Like,
right.
You know, like I'm not that involved.
Yeah.
Cause like technically, you know, we went back and forth from US and Mexico since till we were like 14.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's to me, and like our parents were never in, like they were just trying to get by.
Exactly.
And make it in this country, you know, like they're not like, dude, people act like if you're a Democrat or Republican, like you're in a fucking gang or something. I swear.
I mean, it's getting to that point where it's like they start to make assumptions about you just because of like where you lean on, you know, what side of and that's the whole point of like, I think the people that are in power want this kind of division to happen. So we just continue to argue amongst ourselves and they're not. In the meantime, they're getting away with a lot of shit.
Yeah, they pit the population against each other,
And they sit back.
and just do what they want to do because everybody's too busy fighting with each other,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of shocking. Sorry, I don't know. I got like a stuffy nose, but
You got the Rona.
no, I don't have the Rona. Thought I did for like a day, but anyway, so like, it's so weird how people have such strong like beliefs, like they base their whole identity on like their political beliefs. Seriously, man,
That's scary.
it's like fuck, dude. Okay, I kind of agree with some of their shit. I kind of agree with some of this shit, but it's like, but then again, like some people go too far, and it's like,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, man, it's like, look, you're not in a gang or something. You're not like a Crip or a Blood. You don't have to live and die by this. Like, you don't have to base your entire identity around this. Like, you have your own thoughts. Like, you believe whatever you believe. Like, fucking relax, everybody, okay? Or maybe that's just us because we don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we're, like I said, I identify more as Mexican than American, even though, I've lived my entire life here. And it's just like, dude, it's just weird, man. It's like, there's like three, like, you don't talk about what? Sex? You don't talk about politics?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, you don't do that. And now we're getting to a point where corporations are forced to take a side.
That's getting weird.
It is getting weird.
I mean, we were talking about this yesterday. I can't even fucking turn on a video game without getting a big
message.
big screen on my
Yeah.
TV saying, we believe this and this and this, and it's like, it's cool because I support the movement, but at the same time I'm like, this is kind of weird,
Yeah, because where do we draw the line? You know what I mean? It's like we're starting to have a very fine line between like your personal beliefs and then just the outside, like your work shit, your the shit that you do, like your hobbies and stuff, like video games, your job, and what you personally believe. It's all being meshed into one thing. Like now it's like we're not getting like our privacy anymore. Now it's like it's out in the open. Like again, I'm for the movement too, and I just think that it's a very awkward position to be in when companies are starting to take sides because that's the right thing to do. It is unjust what's happening, but then you're basically putting people like I don't know, man. I just feel like
you're taking a side is the thing. So
yeah,
I mean, the whole thing about this country is you can believe whatever you want to believe. So just because I personally believe that this is the right thing, the people that believe the opposite, even though I don't agree with them, they still have the right to believe that.
They have the freedom to say, to whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, they have just as much of a right as I do to believe what they do. And imagine, this is just a hypothetical example, but imagine you turn on a video game to kind of like unwind at the end of the day, and it's like, yeah, we're fucking racist, like, like we like if you're black, turn this game off. If you're black or Mexican or Chinese or whatever, like we don't want you to play this fucking game. Fuck you. Like, imagine that.
Right.
Because technically they could say some shit like that.
Yeah.
And that's just an extreme example, but I'm just saying, like, if you're on the other side of the fence and you're playing a game and then you see this and you're like, oh, like, God damn it. Like, I just want to play a game. And please don't crucify me for saying that.
We're just trying to see this as a neutral perspective. You know what I mean? We're trying to, like, we understand that what's happening right now is not right, but there's a line, you know what I mean? And here's the thing, it's like, if the reason why I'm very upset is because, and I said this on the last episode, it comes off as phony. It doesn't come off as authentic. There's a few companies that have actually not just oh, big whoop, you send out a email template to like everyone that's that's on your list, or like I actually want to see like action. You know what I mean? Like what Legos did. They straight up stripped off like police shit. Like, all right, you're not just saying something, you're actually doing something about it. You know what I mean? Like NASCAR, which was the last. Like NASCAR is the last organization that I would have thought
themselves in the foot.
Dude, NASCAR said we're not gonna tolerate this Confederate flag thing. And like, bro, that's your whole audience, bro. That's like
literally your entire fan base, man.
Like y'all, next season, y'all gonna be broke as fuck, dude.
Bro, that's like if I owned a meat store. If I owned like a store that sold only meat, and I put out a message that said, I don't support the killing of animals or cows. I'm totally against it. It's if you believe in cows getting slaughtered, then you're a piece of shit. And we don't want your business.
You got to know your audience. All right. Yeah. I don't know any minority that watches. All right. I don't know any minority that watches NASCAR. And let me take that a step further. I don't know anybody in my circle that watches NASCAR.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody in California that watches NASCAR.
I've never met a single person.
Dude, I've never had a conversation with anyone like, you watch NASCAR? No, not once, bro. Not once.
You're right.
That shit lives and breathes in the South and all those states where people gave up on their lives. That is where NASCAR, like, that's their fan base. You know what I mean?
The only time you ever watch NASCAR is when you're like flipping through channels and it's just on. And you kind of watch it for like, I don't know, a minute.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is fucking stupid. And you change the channel.
I used to play NASCAR Heat 2002 on my Xbox. And you used to play with me too. And we used to play it because you could shoot paintballs out of your car.
And that's the only reason I enjoyed that game. Look, I only enjoyed that game because you could see what you would do is you'd shoot paintballs on the inside turn.
Oh,
at all the cars that like were ahead of you. So that you just cause this huge wipeout, you know?
Bro, I used to love playing that game just to like mess up the entire, like just destroy everything, dude.
Yeah, you love the chaos. But we weren't playing it to like, sit there behind, in fourth place for like 3 hours and like, actually racing or whatever the fuck. That's boring as shit. Who wants to do that? Just drive in a circle? I got better things to do with my free time.
Oh, yeah, dude, for real.
Plam Chowder.
Hey, we're back.
Yeah, the Rogan podcast must be so fucking sick, dude. Like, you're doing this, but millions of people are watching. That's fucking insane to me.
Yeah. And with your support, we can get to that level. We have a new segment that we experimented with last time, but we're going to continue to do it. And it is called...
It's time for the celebrity shot.
What? The celebrity shot.
The celebrity shot. Again, it's like beer pong where you take someone that's not in the game and you give them the ping pong ball, and they have a chance to throw it. So we're going to call a good friend of ours for the celebrity shot.
Yo, C's. How we doing?
C's, you are live on Plam Chowder. How are we doing today?
Just living it up in my car, charging my phone.
Let's go.
Mate, how's the week been for you?
It's been good, not gonna lie.
C's, so we actually had a topic that I wanted to speak to you about. You know that I've recently developed a gambling habit, right?
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. Talk to me.
So bro, right now I'm loving it, bro. Like it's like I can't get enough. I'm betting on anything and everything that I can, right? And it's going well so far. So I kind of wanted to ask you, like, does that remind you of like, because you've been in the game for what? How long?
I mean, I feel like I've been in the game since day one, but active. I would say I've been an active. When I mean gambling, okay, there's a difference. So we'll just go down memory lane. I got into gambling because my uncle straight up took me for my $20 that he gave me. So my uncle, I'm staying at his house, my godfather, and him and my uncles and they're playing poker, and I'm like, hey, I want to, so they teach me how to play, and I got straight up took for the 20 he just gave me, right? For whatever, every time I see him, how Mexican uncles are. They just throw you out cash to shut the fuck up, right?
Yeah.
So he throws me a 20 spot. I lose my 20 spot to him, and I made a vow from that day that I will never get fucking took in anything, right? That's probably why I got into sales and shit like that. But I was like, I will learn. I will make sure that at least if I go into something, like if I get my ass beat, I know that I'm like, fuck it, right? Like I started it, I instigated it, but I knew what was coming, right? So now when it comes into gambling, all these movies start coming out. Your boy starts hopping into poker. I find a knack for it. I love poker, right? And then it just it's a natural gift. And then it was 2008. So it's been exactly 12 years since I've been in the game for betting on sports. I told my friend, I was like, yo, I would never, ever, 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 ever bet on anyone else unless I'm controlling it. Now, let me ask you this, Omar. We betting on sports? Do you mess with blackjack, poker? You mess with any of that?
All right. Actually, that's a good question because no. And I was talking about that earlier. I don't fuck with like the table games, like blackjack, poker, like the slots, none of that bullshit. I only fuck with sports. To me, I feel like I have like a really good strategy and a really good idea of what's going to happen, where it's not as big of a risk for some reason, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So like with you, so you don't fuck with like the table games anymore, do you?
But I do. But here's the itch that you have, and here's what I'm gonna get at. I had the same thing as you, my friend. So how you're right now, you're betting on what, fights?
Yeah, just like boxing and UFC.
Okay. So anyone would tell you, if you had asked me back in the day, I would say that was rigged. I would think that was rigged out of all things. I had a knack because I grew up playing sports. I love watching sports. I'm an avid football, baseball. I love watching all of that. So my homies got into betting on sports, and I was watching them. So I was like, they kept asking me my opinion, like, yo, who do you think's going to win this game? Who's going to win this game? And little did I know, these guys were making money because they kept placing bets. So there was like this, how we're going through a pandemic right now, these fools started just, the floodgates open for betting. And then I got a knack for it. Hey, just like you, Omar, hey, I had it all figured out. I had it calculated. I started placing my bets. The Sunday football games, I was already placing after the Sunday game played, knowing that like, oh, Niners versus Raiders, hey, Raiders are losing that game. So, your boy had it figured out. And it comes to a point where you have to ask yourself, am I getting lucky? Is this a skill? Is this a combination? And what is actually enough? That's like that's the biggest thing. You have to ask yourself, do you have the power to walk away? Because it seems like you've been on a winning streak. Am I correct?
Oh, dude, I'm 12-1 right now.
Okay, but that one stinks because I guarantee in your head you're probably thinking, I didn't bet it right.
Yeah,
this guy fucked up.
It was an impulse. It was an impulse bet, like last minute.
Oh, so that's exactly what. Hey, that is the $1 million question you have to ask yourself. If you want to be a successful gambler, You have to know, and when they say this should be fucking tattooed on everyone's goddamn arm or whatever as a reminder that you need to know when to walk away. Now, don't get me wrong. If you play poker and you're good at it, you have an edge. You need to know when cards aren't going your way. Just like with sports betting, if you bet on trends, you bet on what you know. So the thing that you have to ask yourself, just say you bet on a fight, right? And I bet on a fight, not recently, but the last Conor McGregor fight when he actually fought. When did he fight Khabib? How long ago was that?
It's like a year ago.
A year ago?
Yeah.
Okay. I bet on that fight. Everyone, even I believe even you guys, everyone's like, Khabib has us locked up, right? But everyone in the back of their head, they said, I wouldn't be surprised if Conor knocks him out. And that was one of the biggest things. And I was like, fuck it. I went against the grain and I bet on Conor. And of course I lost because everything panned out exactly the way it was supposed to. Now, here's the thing. Do you have the willpower so far to walk away? Also, you have to know, when are you going to start upping your bets? Because you're 12-1 right now. That's a 90-something%, win percentage. If it wasn't for that one fluke, you would be undefeated.
Right.
Correct?
Right. Yeah.
So here's the question. This is what happened with me. My $20 bet turned into $50. I wasn't satisfied. If I lost my $50, I wanted to make.
Yeah.
If you lose your $50, now you want to make it up. Now you're like, I need to bet $100 to make up for that $50 and the money that I should have won. So when do you stop chasing? That's when it becomes a problem.
No, he's completely right. He's 100% right. And actually, Caesar, like, dude, I've had those thoughts already where I was like, well, fuck, I only put like $20. Why don't I put like $1,000? Like, but here's the thing. So my homeboy that got me into this, his whole thing is you got to keep yourself hella disciplined and keep making like a lot of kind of smaller, low risk bets, but like a high volume of bets to where they start accumulating over time, and you just kind of like you're not winning a shit ton of money like up front, but over time it adds up. So that's like his strategy, and then he kind of like slipped into your what you just described, where he started kind of like getting a little reckless, throwing more money on maybe shit that he shouldn't be throwing it on or whatever. And then I got into it going with his original strategy. And he's like, oh, fuck, I need to get back into kind of like my Jew ways. You know what I mean? Because that's when he was winning and that's when he was on top. So I think it's all about staying hella disciplined. You got to like separate the money from the actual bet and like really think about it logically. You can't let emotion get into it, I think is what it is.
That's the
easier said than done, right?
It way easier said than done, because here's the thing. With that type of gambling, for example, when I play poker versus when I'm betting on a sport, you have to ask yourself this too. What are you willing to lose, right? Like, what are you willing to put up? So if you had what's so-called a lock, which I call my bets, my locks, and in the betting world, a lock means a guarantee in your head, right? So I would say majority of things that I say that are a lock when it comes to betting on a sports bet or something along those lines, I hit about 70% of the time. So 7 out of 10 times, I am hitting that bet. The thing is that there is a 30% chance that I'm losing. So it goes where if I bet $1,000 and I lose, and I bet another 1,000 and I lose, and I bet another 1,000 and I lose, on that third bet, in my mind, I'm gonna win the next 7. Right? The runs of betting don't work that way. Sometimes you're gonna lose 20 in a row before you win the next 80. So, and that's 80%. But that's what you have to ask yourself, because the way you're betting, you want to stick to, because then it's actually fun. You can bet $5, you can bet $20, You know you're not going to be a millionaire off of it, but you know that you're like, you know what? I got a knack for this. I bet on it. It's when you pop your cherry on the big bet. That's where I get down. All right? It's when you pop. It's when you straight up fucking, you put your nuts on the table and you go, you know what? You go, you know what? This trip, you're like, hey, that's when you look at your homie and you go, Europe is riding on this fight right now. Either I'm going to vacation or free vacation is coming up.
So
when
Caesar,
you're willing,
it's funny you bring that up because, bro, I've literally been having like dreams and like daydreams of the next Canelo fight.
Oh God.
I'm gonna throw like 5 G's on him, bro.
Oh no.
Yeah, dude. Like, I'm gonna throw like 5 fucking G's on this fool. So, do you think that's a very bad idea or what? Like, because in my head, he's got it in the bag. You know what I mean? He's got it in the bag. So, would that be stupid of me to do that if I know somebody's got it in the bag? And I'll give you an example. Hold on, let me give you an example, Caesar. So, like, this fight just happened last week. Amanda Nunes, she's been running through the fucking division. She's like, this chick is the baddest fucking chick in MMA history. She's not losing a fight, right? I was looking at the odds. She was negative 7,000. Bro, a dude in Vegas put $1 million on her. And when you think about it, it's like you got to risk $1 million to make like $400K. But that motherfucker walked off with $400K, and it wasn't even really a risk. You know, that's $400K that he just made out of thin air, and it really wasn't a risk when you think about it. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Is that stupid, or is that like putting your balls on tip? Like, what's your opinion?
I don't think it's stupid. And this is not the impulse. This isn't the degenerate in me. It's, when it comes to that, it's very calculated. And I will agree that when I have my lock in my head, I have things like, I cannot wait, for example, if the NFL season were to start, I already have my money exactly on certain teams where I'm going to focus on. So if you have Canelo pegged and you know exactly kind of how he's been trending, how he's been doing, and the next matchup, you have to ask yourself, is it worth, because you're saying dropping $5,000, is that $5,000 worth $300?
No, it's
the profit.
It's not going to be $300 profit. It'd be probably like 2 G's maybe.
Then I think that's a great bet.
Right.
To be honest with you, I think it's a great bet. I mean, anything along those lines. Now, here's the thing: if you lose that bet, you can't all of a sudden bet 5,000 on some other slapdick that's boxing that you have no idea about. So
to try to make it back.
When you have the main event go on, then you have the slapdick after whatever, the cards that don't even matter, like after the main event, when you're like, I didn't even know there were even fights after the main event, and you start betting on that, yes, that becomes a problem. When you see a guy coming out and you're like, all right, this guy looks like he's going to win. He's due. So, we start going into the good old gambling.
The hypotheticals.
The due theory. Yeah. So as long as you're not doing it all the time, and again, you haven't made that bet. I'll tell you this much. I made my first big bet. My biggest bet ever was $6,800.
Oh my god, bro!
Damn!
Holy shit!
Now I will tell you from experience.
Dude, you
guys can fact check this.
Oh my god!
So at the time, I was living in Santa Barbara. Okay, so let's go down memory lane. I think it's 2010, maybe 2011. I'm gonna have to look this fucker up. My degenerate roommate comes up to me. He goes, "Hey, I'm going to be short on rent. This fucker tells me this on the 14th. And I'm like, fool, you got 2 more weeks to come up with rent. What do you mean you're short already? And it's middle of the month. This guy goes, hey, I have everything mapped out. So I had 3 roommates that were everyone was somewhat going to be short because everyone was like, I'm not going to spot this fool. So I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, well, we can't get kicked out of our spot. Everyone made a stand. I told everyone I had access at the time. There was this betting guy who allowed any limit.
Oh my God.
He allowed any limit bet. So I told him, I said, yo, I premeditated. I was like, all right, I have to win on one of these games. So I told my buddy, I go, yo, I am going to place a big bet to cover your shitty ass rent. And I swear to God, if we lose, it is all on you. I am like, you're the fallout guy. You're
That's so much pressure for that guy. That guy must have been sweating fucking bullets, dude. What a shit month for that guy.
Oh, you guys tend to forget. Our rent was he only had to make up $800. In the beginning of this, I told you this is a $6,800 bet. So I haven't even gotten to the good part, right?
Oh my God.
So my first bet I make, it's a Monday. I am playing baseball with the homies. I call my bookie guy and I'm like, yo, I need a 10 grand available. He goes, okay. First game, basketball game. Like, this is easy. At the time, the Lakers were stomping everybody. I dropped $1,500 on the Lakers to win, or I dropped $1,000 on the Lakers to beat whatever team. They just had to win. I go back to the house. Lakers lost by 30.
Oh, shit. Fuck, dude.
And then I go, okay, well now that $800 we have to make up just turned into $1,800, right? So now I'm like, all right. Now we're getting to my territory where I have to make up for this shit. So I go, okay. I don't owe this guy I don't have to pay him out until Monday. So I'm like, okay, what's the next bet? Let me think about it. I'm like, okay, boom. Orlando Magic is money at the time. Bet on them. I'm like, I'm gonna do a parlay. Parlay, for people that don't know, that's when you connect your bet with another bet, and it just makes it bigger. So I lock up Orlando Magic, and I lock up another team. This is for $1,000 to win $3,200 because I'm chasing it.
Damn.
Boom. My team is up. Orlando Magic stomps out the team. My next game, they lose to a buzzer beater, right?
Oh.
I was devastated.
Damn.
Now, that $800 I needed turned into $1,800, now turned into $2,800.
Oh my God.
Oh, shit.
So now I go, how the fuck am I going to get out of this?
This is some fucking Adam Sandler shit, bro. Some good jam shit right here.
Oh, this is the best part. I go, so so in the sporting world, you know how there's the negative, right? There's minus 700,
Yeah.
minus 100. For those people that don't know, that's nothing is even. So if it says, when you're at a minus number, if you're minus 150, we're gonna put this to $100. For you to win $100, you have to bet 150. That's what the minus part is. If there's a plus sign next to any number, you're getting whatever dollar you put, you're getting that times that. So if it's 150, you times your dollar times 1.5, right? So now it comes to a final basketball game. It's the Chicago Bulls versus the New Jersey Nets. They weren't Brooklyn yet. They were New Jersey. They were so fucking bad that everyone was telling them I could have beat them. They were just losing. They were the worst fucking team in NBA history.
Right.
Now, when you start betting, you start asking people that don't even know about sports. You go, hey, what do you think of this team, right? Everyone's like, shit, I'd drop 100 on it, right? I am convincing everyone. Now it's makeup time. I'm down $3,800.
Oh my
I dropped.
God.
How do I make up for that? Because this team is minus. For some reason, now again, this is the Bulls. This is for my homie's rent. This is for all the money that I owe now. This is for goddamn to stay in the house. I have $6,800 to win all the past 3 bets back on the fucking Chicago Bulls to beat the shittiest team in NBA history still to this day.
Oh my God.
It's the shittiest team. People on the...
Wait a minute. So hold on.
Guys.
The Chicago Bulls were favorited or not favored?
Favored.
Okay.
They were favored. And not only were they favored, they needed this game. They needed to win this game to make it to the play. So they were like battling for playoff seeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were going all out in this game. Again, I am putting as a calculated. This isn't like a throwaway fight or some fucking top, heavyweight guy that's fighting one of those not like he's fighting a layup. This is a fucking layup game. And you got one side that's going all out. This team was so bad that they're playing that not only the fans were wearing paper bags, the goddamn teammates were wearing paper bags, okay? This is how bad they were. $6,800 game on the line. This team showed up. I swear to God, you would have thought they were the fucking dream team. They were up.
Wait, who? The Nets?
The Nets
Oh
in the
no.
play.
Oh no!
Oh, fellas, when you start betting, conspiracy theories coming up. I swear to God, they must have got a phone call going like, yo, Caesar just bet everything on this fucking game. I am sitting there. I have never anticipated a game so much. I was walking back and forth. Everyone goes, hey, what's up? And I'm like, and they're like, what time is it? They're like, hey, is the game on? And I'm like, no. They're like, what? And they're like, it's 12 o'clock. What time does the game start? I'm like, 4:30. They're like, what the fuck are you tripping off of? I'm like, I don't know if I made a good decision. Every sign was pointing not to bet on it. I go against the grain. I bet on the Chicago Bulls. As the game is going, fellas, I'm not even kidding. Every fucking minute was going by so quick. The Nets could not miss a shot.
Damn.
And
holy shit.
You start rethinking life. I'm thinking, not only is my friend going to miss a finger, I'm going to miss a hand. I'm thinking, we're going to have to call witness protection. I don't know what to do.
Oh, my God.
But the gambling gods always like to fuck with you, right? Instead of just, it was at the point where I admitted defeat. I was like, fuck it, I lost. That's it. I had a story. I was going to tell the guy I was fucking wasted. I accidentally made the wrong bet. Obviously I don't bet this high. I had everything figured out. And sure enough, during that game, I do the one mistake you should never do. You never all of a sudden just count your win. The team that was down 20, this is again the Chicago Bulls, all of a sudden they're up by 5 points with 30 seconds to go. We all know in basketball, I don't care who you are. If you're up by 30, if you're up by 5 points and it's your ball and there's 30 seconds to go, it's pretty much a wrap unless there's something fluky that happens, right?
Yeah.
What ends up happening? Bulls hit a 3-pointer. They're up by 8.
What?
Long story short, every fucking fix, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. I end up losing the game, and not only overtime, but double overtime.
Oh,
Triple overtime.
Really?
fuck. Hold on. So you're telling me you just lost $6,800 on that one game?
1,600.
Hold on. Okay, so what? Okay, number one, holy fucking shit. That's an insane story. What was going through your head?
I'm glad there wasn't a bridge nearby. I just
Shit.
no. To be honest with you,
God damn.
to be honest with you, it it was one of those. I mean, you start rethinking. It's one of those things where it made me actually a better gambler. Again, I will say that during that moment, the shittiest fucking part was obviously we weren't paying rent, right?
Did you break the news to the roommates?
Well, the room we were all in on it. I mean, at that point, we were all watching the game.
Oh,
we were drinking our sorrows. But luckily, this is where you know what? I don't know if the guy, whatever his name is, but I didn't know the bookie that well, and he happened to get arrested that week, and
oh my
God, bets were off.
Oh,
man. Woo.
Bro, you had the
the universe taught you a lesson.
You had the get out of jail free card right there.
That's literally the universe teaching you a lesson.
Not only did the universe teach me a lesson, but the thing that where I started from the beginning, where you got to learn how to walk away, is never place a big bet on something, because again, there is no fucking guarantee except for death, right? That's the only one. Hey, death, taxes, no matter what. And I will say that if you could stick to your bets and you don't get crazy with it, and you could just have fun with it. I would even say entertaining. If you look at it as you can mix your actual your savings account, whatever money you have, and just actually having fun with it. That's my recommendation for anyone that ever gets into gambling.
So never risk what you can't afford to lose.
Even if you can afford it, it's not worth it, because what you're going to end up finding yourself is you're just going to go down this rabbit hole and you're just going to be chasing it.
Okay.
So unless you can go into it, it'd be like going into a fight yourself. I should win this fight. There's no reason for it. And, shit happens. So if you're able to walk away, take your lumps like a man, and just learn that, you know what? I was willing to fork up $5,000. I lost $5,000. I will own up to it. And as long as you're not chasing it, you're all good.
Damn.
That is a crazy fucking story, Caesar.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that shit. That was insane. But I have to agree with them, because the friend that got me into this, he's always played it just like Caesar said. He never bets big money. Never places a huge bet. It's always just $20 here, $30 here, $10 here, maybe $50 here, whatever. But it's never like a huge bet.
Mm-hmm.
He never makes huge winnings, but he makes like $100 here, $200 here, whatever, right? It's not like anything that's going to change your life or something that's going to be a dramatic difference. It's going to give you some big rush or whatever. But just like little trickles of income that are just consistently coming in, and it stays fun.
I see.
It's always like stayed fun.
My personality type would be like one big bet, get in or get the fuck out. That's just my mentality, man. It's just like I'm going all in just to experience like either the big win or the big loss, and then just never touch it ever again.
But no, Caesar.
But then
yeah, go ahead.
Here's the thing, fellas. This is the part where this is the other part, is that you win that or you lose that. Then you ask yourself, I mean, if I bet 5,000 and I hit for 5,000, what do you think the first thought that goes through my head?
How do you make 10,000?
Well, exactly. How do I make 100 grand?
Yeah.
I get bad. I'm like, I should have bet 100 grand on this
Yeah,
game.
exactly. Yeah.
So that is where it starts coming in, because you feel like I was willing to put the risk out. I was willing to put everything on the line. And again, we're not saying we're betting all our money, but we bet, something that if we lost, it would be a fucking huge significant hit. And it gets to a point where you have to ask yourself, that's like playing a little Russian roulette. How many of those can you do? If you win one, are you able to do another one? Because, for example, you're talking about this Canelo fight. Canelo's going to fight again.
Yeah.
So what if he gets his ass whooped? And all of a sudden he's an underdog in the next fight. Are you now leaning towards Canelo? Are you leaning towards this?
Damn.
If Mayweather comes back, that's the question you have to ask yourself, because once you pop that cherry, this is my recommendation of why I say don't bet that, is because if you bet the big amount, you open the floodgates where that becomes a normal thing.
Damn.
I bet 5,000 grand before, I can bet 5,000 again.
Oh man, I never thought about
That's
that.
crazy.
Yeah, I never thought about maybe that's how gambling works psychologically. Like, because it's like this whole industry, right? People start off with little bets, little and little, and they're strategic, and they win because they do smart bets, and they don't give a shit about losing this like a small amount of money, and it gives them confidence to the point where they're like, oh well, my track record's pretty good. Why don't I just why don't I throw the house on it? Because I'm, it's basically free money in their heads. And then that's where they get got. Is that, you think that's what it is? Everybody goes down that path?
I 100% agree. Everyone that cannot control that part of themselves, that's where they get got. Is they think that they trick the system. And again, numbers don't lie, because eventually, again, I compare it to Russian roulette. 1 out of 6, right? You do whatever amount of pulls. It's being able to do that risk, but again, knowing when to walk away. Because once that floodgate opens, and that's in the back, no matter what, that fucker is always in the back of your head, where that I placed a big bet before. Why not now? And then the it starts coming. Even if you stop, and a year goes by, a month goes by, a week goes by, what's going to make you not sit there and you watch the next fight and you go, well, I've only lost one time. Why not bet? Why isn't today going to be a $5,000 bet?
Ooh, man, that's really good advice.
One C's for this is one thing that I had a question on. It's like, for the simpletons that don't gamble and all that, like, you're seeing like sports through a different lens, obviously, because you have money riding on it, or you understand the game that's going on behind the scenes. Like, how much do you think that influences like the outcome? When I'm thinking of some controversial shit, like when the Warriors were up 3-1 against the Cavaliers and they ended up losing the series. There's been a lot of times in history where like the underdog ends up winning the whole thing, and you're like, do you think there was a influence because of the money that was behind it in the gambling scene, not just to like the fan or but to the actual people that are putting money on this shit? Do you think there's like decisions that have been influenced because of that?
Well, here's one thing that I will say when it comes to that. One thing that I noticed, for example, we'll use that series, the series that the Warriors lost, right, where they lost in Game 7, unfortunately. Here is where that influence comes. Both you guys, we all watch Uncut Gems, correct?
Yes, sir.
Straight up.
So you remember the scene, his bet. He's betting player props. So where I think we're influenced, where it comes in, I think there was a heavy hand played in that. Because remember, when people start betting big, Vegas is ahead of the game. That's why you see numbers adjust So they sway what they go against the grain. They see exactly where everyone is betting. Everyone and their mother was betting the house on the Warriors every single game. Maybe not as much when they were playing away, but that was a wrap. That was just
Dude,
so where it came into play.
We had the parade ready. We had everything barricaded. Like, we were ready to celebrate.
That was a devastating loss.
It was a devastating loss. And this is where you have to go back in history and you have to ask yourself, why did LeBron end up getting 20 points in a game that they lost when he didn't need to with 1 minute to go in a game 2 and a game 3? That's player bets. Those are bets that the guy in Uncut Gems was betting on.
Yeah.
You start asking yourself little things like this. What are the odds that Draymond Green, he gets
suspended?
Again, this is not being biased, but he gets suspended, right?
Well, JR threw away the first game, remember?
No, that was another series.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
That was the following year.
Oh, my bad.
Hey, that's another controversy. No, but that's another great. That's another scratching your head moment.
That was super
That's
suspect.
another scratching. Exactly. That one was more obvious, to the eye. But this was, again, you got to understand these networks. They got to make money, right? But it looked that way. So as far as with influencing, it's tough for me, fellas, because I my biggest bets are bets that are not involved when it comes to any type of playoff or Super Bowl. I make the littlest bets when it comes to that.
Why is that?
So from the outsider, just because, I guess I go with you, Jaime, to answer your question. Yes, I think there's a big influence. I do not trust when the money's on the line and there's a big game, and we can go back in history. We can go back to the Warriors. We can go back to when the Patriots came back from and they were whatever the score was, 20 something. They were blown out by like 20 something points in the first half, and this is all in the same year, 2016. I like to stay away from games like that. That's a nationally televised. They're getting paid with ads. The more games that are played, the more money the networks make. More eyes on the TV screen, more money for them, right? So why not extend a series? Is that not a picture-perfect story for LeBron to?
Yeah.
I just like the World Series comes into mind.
So hold on. Extending the series 100%. I remember there's a lot of like controversial talk about that, like they're just doing this for the ratings or whatever. But Caesar, let me ask you this. So, and this is just based off literally 2 weeks of fucking just getting into this shit. But I've had a shift in perception about how this all works. Before, when I used to watch sports or fights, for example, when I used to watch fights, it was just like I would watch the fight and be entertained, and I'd kind of like root for one fighter in my head or whatever. Like I would just be entertained. Once I started putting money on it, then I was like, oh fuck, like this is like a business, not only just like for the promotion, but there's this whole underworld of just like money being put and generated off this fight. So I'm in my head, I'm wondering like, and I'm thinking like, fuck, I want another fight card. I want another event. So I can put money on it, whatever, right? So I can gamble and gamble and gamble. How huge is this like underground world of betting around these events, and how big of an impact does that actually have on the events themselves? You know what I mean?
God damn, that's a good question.
Like, is that even why sports exists in the first place? Because motherfuckers want to just bet money on it and shit, and like, because that's what it is.
Why do you think they charge? It's exactly what it is. Why do you think they charge? Why do you think pay-per-view charges X amount of money? Why aren't these for free, right? So these huge televised, everything that this underground world, yes, it has been going on since the beginning of time. There has been bets on freaking gladiators, right? Like this has been going on forever, because no matter what, someone has their money out. So as far as like of a big influence, I lived in Santa Barbara. There's a casino out there. This fucking place was a tent. Now it's a goddamn resort. Vegas was in the goddamn desert. Look at Vegas now.
For real, man.
So that's built off of betting, right? Like, I don't care what type of money, that is all built off of straight up gambling. So
Yeah.
how much of an impact? 100% huge influence. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think nowadays, I don't think it's as bad as it was, going back. Like, we can go back to the World Series this past year, 2 years ago with Houston, or the World Series with the whatever. I think it was like the White Sox. There was a scandal. I think they called it like it was like literally 100 years ago. Actually, it was right around literally everything was going on. Coincidentally, happened to be a pandemic. Back then, that was when Spanish flu was. There was the same exact thing that happened with I believe it was the White Sox. There was a scandal with that. I don't know if it was the White Sox. I'm drawing a blank on it now, but it was one of those teams, and that was a rigged World Series. So as far as the influence, you got to ask yourself when you go into Vegas, how is this built? Yeah, this was built off a lot of people's locks, calculated bets is what paved those roads.
Yeah, and so here's another thing too is I know there's a lot of people out there that are influenced by kind of like the lead up to fights. For example, like the Conor McGregor versus Mayweather fight was a big indicator for me because McGregor did such a good job of selling himself and like selling the fact that he had a big chance to beat Mayweather, right? And he convinced a shit ton of people who don't know any better because they don't know shit about Mayweather. They don't follow Mayweather. They don't know shit about boxing. But he convinced a huge chunk of the public that he had this big chance. And a bunch of motherfuckers, like a ton of people, put money on McGregor when anybody who knew fucking anything about boxing was like, there's not a chance in the world this dude ever beats Mayweather, ever. Like a million times out of a million times, Mayweather wins that fight. And you got to kind of ask yourself, like how much gambling and betting plays into that type of situation. And actually, Caesar, I had a question for you. So I'm glad you're on the phone. So can a coach or a player or like a ref or like anybody kind of like directly involved with the sport bet?
Are they allowed to gamble?
Yeah. Are they allowed to bet on the outcome of the match or like, how does that work?
They are not allowed. They are not allowed to bet at all. You can't have any affiliation. It's just like insider trading. You can't have any involvement when it comes to that. So that's why Pete Rose, famous baseball player.
Pete Rose, yeah. What happened?
He
to that
will
guy?
never. He was betting on his own team. He's like, "Hey, we ain't winning." Did he throw it? No. He just happened to bet on his team. He was just like, "Hey, I think we're gonna lose today. Fuck it, I'm betting on them." It's very hard to throw a baseball game. He just happened to be betting on baseball. He just happened to be throwing on it.
What about Michael Jordan? He was notorious at gambling.
Yeah, but Michael Jordan again. He got the taste of how my $6,800 bet came in. He bets. He likes the competition of betting. So it's equivalent to he's betting the certain people of the world. You saw him in that. Everyone saw The Last Dance.
Yeah.
Greatest documentary that ever come out. So his little scenes in there when you see him
straight up. Whenever
you see him, straight up, phenomenal. I'm waiting for. I'm. You know what? I don't even know if anything. The best thing out of this pandemic was the freaking Last Dance, best documentary I've seen. And I will say with that, you saw him betting, and again, you saw it from the perspectives of other people that don't bet. So they were betting the Jaimes of the world, but they were just like, we were betting $1 games when he was in the back betting $1,000, and they were asking, why are you coming to the front if we're only betting $1? He's like, because I just want your money. He just wants to win. He has that. He has that.
Dude, he is
he has that.
addicted to winning, like obsessed
He's
with winning.
addicted to winning. He is obsessed with winning.
Like that guy has
So
no
that's-
L's in the finals.
No,
No
I've-
L's.
I've actually heard stories of people that have like met him at parties after he retired, of course. There was a story going around on Reddit where there was like a beer pong game at some like exclusive party in like some backyard. And this dude, they were playing against Michael Jordan, and he was like so fucking intense on winning. He destroyed them in the game, obviously, but like,
Damn.
like they were like, this motherfucker, even at beer pong, was just like, like so crazy intense and like talking shit, and like it's like a mental disease almost, bro, like an obsession.
I want that disease where I just want to win all the time.
Yeah.
I wish I had that. I wish I would have met Jordan in his prime, because I would have told him, I would have been like, hey, you suck at Mario Kart. I would have done anything to have it sway my way to place the bet. I wish I could see Jordan right now and been like,
Play me in Rocket League, bitch.
Since this pandemic, I've been playing Halo, right? I would say I wouldn't be able to beat my 18-year-old self, but I could. I'm stomping out whatever 15 or wherever. I don't even know what age groups are playing right now, right? And I would love for Jordan to hop on the sticks and just for me to be like, hey, just to poke the bear. I would love just to tell me, hey, I think you suck, right? Just to be like, I think you suck at Halo. Is it going to bet me? Probably.
And we should put like 10 grand on this match.
Oh God.
That's the mark that you need to find. It all comes down to timing. So to go back onto this, how much of an influence when it comes to the where things are built, it's not so much on the bigger fights, on the bigger games, it's the little games that you don't pay attention to.
It's
the little ones.
He's right.
Yeah.
It's the little undercards that you're not really watching, because again, they're making it brings money itself when you have all these eyes on certain games. So it's the little things, right? It's the games you don't care about. It's that $6,800 game where it's, for me, I'm thinking, okay, this shitty team they're losing out because they're trying to win a lottery pick. And they're so bad they couldn't even win the lottery, because with basketball, you get a bunch of these it's like the lottery. You get these balls, right? So if your number comes up or your logo, you get the first pick. These assholes can't even win at that. They can't even win at being shitty. So they were shitty at all phases of the game. And again, it just happened to be just the minor card. It was the one that people weren't looking over. Because so many people, that's where they get you. So many people get caught up on the big main games. Why do you think in one of the best movies that you guys both need to watch, every gambler that's ever even considering a bet or maybe taking your advice somewhere and they're thinking of the next Canelo fight, they're like, you know what? I'm going to drop 10 grand on it, right? Like, you have me convinced. Right now, I'm already looking up. I just Googled, when is Canelo going to fight, right? Like, I'm actually thinking about it.
No, Caesar, hold on. Let me really tell you why I had the itch to start really putting money on this shit. Was the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder fight, the rematch.
Oh, the rematch was so good.
Okay, I'm going around my office. Everybody knows I fuck with boxing, right?
Yep.
And I had one guy who's kind of like a degenerate. He gambles a lot, right? He's asking me my opinions and shit, sort of like what you would do on a topic that you're not familiar with. And I'm telling him over and over, it's going to be fucking Tyson Fury, and it's going to be in the 7th round. Watch. I said it 100 fucking times that week. Tyson Fury in the 7th round. And when we were watching the fight too, like I was with a bunch of people, I was like, Tyson Fury in the 7th round. And I had no money on this fight because like I was not into gambling. I was against gambling. No money on this fight. What happened, Caesar? Tyson Fury, who's the underdog, in the 7th round.
Damn.
Do you understand? If I would have actually put like, if I would have put like $1,000 on that, I would be living comfy right now. Like,
how long ago was this?
Not too long ago.
This is fuck, dude.
Like what? 4 months? 5? No, 6.
Nah, this is before COVID, bro. This is last year. The rematch?
I think like 4 months.
You talking about the rematch?
Yeah, the rematch.
Nah, dude,
it
that
was
was
like 4 months ago.
That was a while ago.
No, it was like 4 months, I think.
I'll look it up right now.
But anyway, Caesar, so like that, bro, everybody around me was like, holy fuck, you fucking called the round, you called the outcome, like holy shit. And that's what like really kind of like set the switch off in my brain. Like I should probably start putting money on this type of shit.
He lost on February 22nd, 2020. Oh, damn, you ain't kidding.
Yeah, I told you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. I remember because Tyson licked his blood at one point of the fight.
But Caesar, this is what I'm talking about, man. It's you got to wonder, is it luck or is it kind of just like, what the fuck is up? That's not the first time. That's not the first time that's happened. There's actually a few bets I've made in the past like week and a half where I'm like, it's going to be this round. And I've called the round where the dude gets fucking KO'd. So
this is where this is where the luck, this is where the skill, and this is if I followed my own playbook, I've been following my last playbook for the last 2 years. I am up a grand total, and I repeat, I am up a grand total from the last 2 years about 17 grand.
Jesus Christ. That's not good, man.
Now, out of 7,
I mean, you're in the positives, but fuck, that's
God damn.
That's not a good record.
Oh. Now, out of 17 grand that I'm up, you better believe I probably have at least $1 million worth of bets that have gone through, right?
No way.
Shut the fuck up.
No way, dude.
I would say at one point my average bet was about 500, right? And
are you serious?
About 500 to 1,000, And the 500 was me coming home after a day at work and just going,
oh my god,
what game is on? $100,000 game. What game is on?
Oh my god.
So you have to ask yourself now. Again, here's the difference between a degenerate. Here's the difference between a degenerate versus a degenerate bet. A degenerate bet is a bet where you go, I am betting. Every bet that I place, and I will tell you this much, I have done at least, even if it's a minute worth of research, at least I've done some type of research. I will never just throw money blindly.
Fair enough.
So let me just, for the record, I will never throw money out blindly. Like I will do somewhat of research, right? Now, if I get fixated on a game or on a match or anything that I'm betting on, I want to make sure. So that impulse bet, that $500 because it's a Tuesday, it's a Wednesday night, and I want to see what's going on, and I want to have action on the game. My degenerate bet would be $500 because I knew that no matter what outcome was going to happen in that game, whether I won or lost, I knew that whether it was college football, which is my favorite, if I already knew that I was going to place bets on Saturday and I knew I was going to bet on NFL on Sunday, I didn't give a fuck what the outcome was on that Tuesday, just because I was either going to be more money in my pocket or it's going to be more money that I need to place on this one game to make up for that $500 loss.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Dude, this is a slippery slope, Caesar.
It's a goddamn slope you don't even want to hop on. So the bad gamblers, they bet a bad gambler, they might as well just say this. When they say that I'm just playing to have fun, that guy's a donkey, okay? You might as well tattoo donkey. That guy has never won a day in his life because he's the guy that when he has $200 on him, he knows that no matter what, he's leaving with $200 or he's gonna leave with $0 because that's the money that he feels content with losing.
Ah,
He is going to have fun. He's like,
that's
I am
his
going
like
to go in.
that's his risk, like his like
Max-
baseline,
yeah.
his risk factor.
Exactly. It's like if we went to. It's like when I went skydiving. I paid $380 for film and the skydive and for photos, knowing I was probably paying for my death, right? So in my mind, I was like, is that worth it? Am I paying $380 for me to die? So I was willing, it was worth the risk. I said, fuck it. I knew, and that guy goes in to a casino because he's like, you know what? I am willing to bet 200. Am I gonna lose my life? Am I gonna lose my mortgage money? No. Am I gonna lose rent? Am I gonna lose a friend? No, not at all. And that's the type of, again, they're donkeys because that's why you have all the bright lights. They follow that, right? They love it. They love the music. When they're in Vegas, the people that are slots, donkeys. No one's winning. You win very minimal bets, so people are just So table games again. I think table games are great. It's all about, again, your betting structure is key when it comes to bets, because if you're betting $20, you're betting a lot to win. You got to ask yourself what you're trying to win. So if you're trying to win 1,000, now instead of having, you place you're 12-1, that means you place a grand total of 13 bets. You got to ask yourself, out of those 13 bets, I guarantee you can consolidate that to like 2 to 3 bets that you could have done more research on. That's how you get that's how you pick your Furies of, this guy's going to knock Homeboy out in the 7th round. So your February 22nd, to go back onto that, that's what makes, when you have money on the line, you're not thinking the way you would if you didn't have money on the line, because you're not calculating it that way. You're thinking more of, this guy should win versus, how could he lose? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So if Canelo was to fight, you have to ask yourself, if he was to, like, okay, he should win. He's a lock.
Right.
How could he lose? Is it because, he doesn't really need to win this fight? Is this maybe one of his last fights? Is this the back end of his years? Is he fighting a dude that doesn't give up? You gotta start asking yourself those type of questions. And that's the questions you don't ask yourself when someone asks you on the fly, like, yo, what do you think's gonna happen right now?
Wait, Caesar, hold on. Fucking thank you for this, by the way. These amazing points that you're making over and over. But I want to kind of take a step back real quick to a previous point you made. Jaime's about to take a piss, but I'll continue. Look, so you said the people that make those baseline bets where, they have this amount of money that they're comfortable with losing, and it's just whatever, right? They're donkeys. So are you implying that in order to actually be successful in this game, you have to make bets that make you uncomfortable, because you're tiptoeing? You're not even tiptoeing. You're actually going into that deep area of the pool where you have something to lose, but the reward is much, much higher if you lose it. Is that like, are you saying you can't ever be a good gambler if you never make a bet where you don't have like something to lose?
Yes. So in order for you to, okay, so let's take a few steps back.
Does that make sense, by the way? Like, that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It makes sense, but you have to ask yourself, I guess from hearing it from you, here's the only difference. I have made that bet a million times. So yes, the risk is worth the reward, because majority of the time you are right? Now, here's the question you have to ask yourself. And again, this goes back to when I first brought it up, is that when another fight comes up and when something else comes up, do you have the ability to not bet on because the number one cardinal rule, there's always going to be a better fight. There's always going to be a better game. The odds are always going to be better. So when in your mind, when you have it figured out, yes, the risk is worth the reward, but is it worth risking multiple times? Is this a one-time thing? Are you in it just for the one-time reward, or does that $20 become, again, to go back, does this go into a $5,000 one where, again, you find there's going to be another Canelo type fight that you're going to look at and you can call it in your sleep. This guy's going to knock this dude out. This guy, 100%. I could have probably told you all Mayweather fights, except for the last one, or whenever he fought Conor, minus that one, I told everyone, I was like, 100%, again, all his matches are going to go in decision. I doubt he's going to win by knockout, right?
Yeah.
And that was a bet I was willing to make. I was always willing to make that. So you have to ask yourself, do you have the ability? Because again, there's a difference in placing that one bet, or again, is this a habit?
Okay.
Because it'd be different if I came to you and I said, "Hey, Omar, I'm thinking about betting on the same. What are your?" And imagine I just gave you $5,000 instead of you placing that.
Right. So hold on. So like, what do you think a good strategy is then? So like, place a lot of small bets, small strategic bets. And then when that opportunity comes up to put the big bet in, put the big bet in, but then have the discipline to be able to pull yourself back into the original mindset of just placing small strategic bets until the window opens up for the next opportunity.
What you need to do to be able to, for you to answer that question yourself, you need to place whatever bets that you've made. So if you're making these $20 bets, you have to ask yourself on one of these fights, one of these cards that are coming up that you're going to bet on, you have to be willing to bet a little bit more. I would test out maybe $100 or $200 bet. Now that's a big bet. That's 10. If you're betting $20 a fight, I don't know what you're betting, but let's say you're betting $20 a fight. That's now we're betting 10 fights worth, right?
Yeah.
I would bet on something. So if your medium sized bet is around $20, I would do $100 to $200 bet on something that you're very confident in, and then you need to ask yourself, win, loss, or draw. You'll be able to determine whether or not when the next fight comes up, if you have that willpower to stop.
Okay.
You'll have that willpower knowing, do I need to bet more? Because again, when you bet more, the more times you bet, the probability is that you're going to keep losing or you're going to break even. That's pretty much like the number one rule. Unless it's like counting cards, unless you're counting cards like in that one movie and you have it all figured out with blackjack and you're betting at the right time, that's a different story. But when it comes to this, in this particular case, when it comes to fights, you have to ask yourself, again, the ones that you're confident on, you have to make that little big bet just to see, because guess what? When Canelo does fight, and now you popped your cherry on that $200. But just say you lost that 200. You're going to feel it. You're going to think, fuck, that could have gone towards the PlayStation. You're going to start thinking of where all that's one of the funny parts of gambling. When your money is on the line and you're winning, you're thinking about all things that that you're going to
buy
get
with it. Yeah.
When you're losing, you're thinking about all this shit you could have had. You're like, I just threw away a fucking Xbox.
Yeah.
I just threw away 3 months of rent. You just start, that's what makes the difference between when it comes to gambling. It's just more of just the thing that you have right now is you have the impulse. And the impulse is the hardest part. The best thing for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
To make you successful, my recommendation is if you're able to sit there and without betting $1, there's two recommendations that'll make you successful. Number one, right now you're up money. Even if you're up $10, you're up money. can you just say fuck it and watch a fight without feeling like you need a better dollar on it?
Dude,
Can you
these
watch
days,
a fight right now?
bro, these days,
that's a good question.
actually, that is a good question because these days I feel like I can't. I'm hungry for fights so I can put money on it. I don't even care who the fuck is fighting anymore. Like, I'm just like, I want to put money on it. So that's Caesar. That's actually a good point.
And that's where it comes in because you get that. That's where my Tuesday night comes in because guess what? You have a Canelo fight on it. That's where you. Oh yeah, you better believe a solid Tuesday night. I come home to the crib. Before COVID, a basketball game, or actually no football game, but basketball. Some donkey that's playing. I will do some type of research just because I needed action. Because because here's the thing. Out of all your bets that you make, you have one thing.
I have an addictive personality,
like
dude. It's bad. But
minus an addictive.
Real quick.
Having an
Sorry,
addictive
Caesar.
personality.
I gotta take a piss real fucking bad. So I'm gonna I'm gonna take a leak real quick. You got Hyman for like the next minute and a half.
I'm listening. Don't worry, Caesar. Keep going.
Yeah, and plus there's people in like France and Belgium and shit. So like I'm sure people are taking notes. So just
Romania.
Go ahead.
Yeah, take notes on this because I need some tips too. But I will say that I have not lost any sleep with sports being gone. I will say I do miss betting, but I needed this break because when sports come back, I don't have the urge really to bet.
That's good.
I kind of lost the mojo. Now, again, there's I would admit there's a degenerate is someone that is just, they're a bad gambler and they bet bad. But then there's also, you got to understand when you have a bad streak, or am I not betting smart? There is such thing as a stupid fucking bet. Now, again, you're going to hear that from a friend. They're going to be like, oh, that's a stupid bet. That's why I always recommend everyone to keep their bets to themselves. Because you start getting influenced and you get misjudgment because, people see, hey, people are very funny when you dangle dollar signs around them when they're like, hey, I have $1,000 on this. You're like, well, wait a minute. Like, are you serious? Right? Like, you got to kind of keep that to yourself. You got to kind of, do your own calculation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's again, I mean, to go back to everything, is everything influenced? I mean, everything's already built now. I don't think there's even a time for, anything that's rigged or anything along those lines. Again, being a Warriors fan, I think that, they just thought they had it in the bag and, we got caught slipping, going back to that part. But, I recommend anyone that's gambling, again, I am one that I find myself as being a smart gambler, but it is and I don't even have, it's not even an addictive personality. I mean, have you ever bet on a game?
I was telling Omar earlier that like my whole thing of betting was I would host the fight, and all of my like dad's friends and family, we would put $20 on the fight, but we would literally take the 12 rounds that a boxing fight lasted, and we would tear up a little piece of paper and we put it in a hat, and you would put $20 in, and whatever you picked out of that hat, that's the round that you had. So you could literally get fucked from the first minute because you had the round one, and this fight's gonna go the distance. So that was as much as betting as I've ever done. I haven't really messed with it that much.
Dude, I just
and
know.
Hold on. Smartest betting.
No, hold on.
I know it is.
Here's I know my personality. When I like something, I really like it, and I get fucking obsessed with it, man. Especially if I feel like I'm good at it. So that's the dangerous part about this shit, and that's why I've been kind of like I recognize that. I know my personality, and that's why I'm kind of like asking around, like, what are your experiences? Because I don't want to fall down that slippery slope when I start being reckless and fucking shit up. You know, I want to keep this like fun. I want to keep it on the positive slope. So everything you said has resonated with me. And like I said, I've literally only been doing this for like a week and a half. I have a friend, the friend that got me into this stuff. He has played it pretty safe, and he's a really smart guy. He does a shit ton of research on any bet he makes. Even if he doesn't know a fighter, he doesn't know a team, whatever. Like he goes and Googles a bunch of shit and figures it out, and that has made him pretty successful over the long run with small strategic bets. But anyway, so like we've talked about betting forever. Thank you, Caesar, for
you the homie, bro.
Yeah, thank you for like dropping all that knowledge, man. That was some crazy ass stories you had there, dude.
I mean, let's just say at the end of it, I have all my limbs. All right, I've lost goddamn sleep, and I will never forget that goddamn Chicago versus the Nets game. But other than that, I mean, again,
I'm gonna run my.
Comes to your betting,
I'm gonna run my shit by you every now and then from now on.
It just like I said, just if you're having fun with it, keep it at the $20 level. My recommendation. There's no need to bet big. I mean, it's not worth it. When you start, when you take that loss and you look at it and it's money that you saved, money that's hard earned. That's the hard part. Whether it's work or your grind, whatever you're doing, right? But once you lose your own paper and you don't have the control that you had was to not place the bet. That's the thing is the way to stay away from this slippery slope is just not betting at all. Go back to the good old days of like, hey, I'm gonna bet.
No, that's long gone, dude. That's long gone.
This guy will win. Yeah.
Well,
the only way, look, Hyman, I said this earlier, but the only way I can describe this shit is I feel like I knew, like everybody would always talk about like this Disneyland. There's this Disneyland out there, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Like maybe it's out there, maybe it's not. But I feel like I just randomly stumbled into this fucking Disneyland and rode all the rides, and they were amazing. And I'm fucking like hooked now on this Disneyland. This is a big world to explore, like I could have so much fun in this Disneyland. Maybe there were some shitty rides in this Disneyland, but who knows? I got to see, Yeah.
Omar, I would love to be in that world because once you get to my level, you're in the fucking Matrix, all right? So once you get, hey, Disneyland is the honeymoon phase, all right, my friend? I'm in the Matrix right now.
These motherfuckers in Pirates of the Caribbean, dude, just dodging cannonballs and shit.
That was actually what I was going to ask you, Caesar. It's like you've been in the game for over a decade. Like if you were to go back to the beginning and like to where you are now, like have you at least like broken even? Or are you like in the negative, or have you actually came up? Like, because like long term, man, that's what people need to know is like long term. If you had never even played the game to begin with, would you just been better off, or
would you do it again? Basically, is what he's asking.
It's mixed feelings because yes, I would do it again. And here's the pros and the cons with that. It made me the person. So like when you start making certain bets, you start it opens up your mind as far as like as a different perspective as far as like being very analytical. Like when it came to poker, I've always been a numbers guy. I love math, right? Like everything. So when I see cards dealt and I see things. And not only do I have a borderline of photographic memory, but like when it comes to percentages, I know the odds, the outs, everything. So a million things are going through my head pre-calculated, right? Now, am I going to be thinking like that if I lost when I was 13 years old to my uncle the $20 he gave me? I don't know, right? Like it opened up a different rabbit hole. Also it goes the other way. I'm glad that I did do it because I will say that I lose the respect for the dollar. Yes, 100%, because I was the type of person when I was younger, whatever money I made, I was a hustler, growing up. I was rolling dice, actually. I'll take it back. I was playing craps and I took everything. So any type of betting that was involved. So I would not take any of it back because it made me the person
that
who
you
I
are
am.
now. Yeah. Understood.
Now, when it comes to the bigger bets, yeah, looking back on it, yeah, to bail a friend out, obviously I should have just forked out the money. So that was for $800 got me into this goddamn Tuesday night $500 betting on a random basketball game because of that rent money. But yes, if I can go back in time, I would not have changed anything. Did it change certain outcomes? Yes, I did lose respect for some of the money because so overall I am up money in a sense, but I'm also down because I also lost the ability to not give a fuck on if there's something that I want, I will get it. There's no boundaries, there's no barrier. So put a car, for example. If you're a car guy or you're whatever, and you're like, I would never buy this, or if it came to clothes or whatever, there's no price tag that will ever stop me because I broke. I used to have limitations. Now I do not because of gambling. So there's never any price that's too expensive for me because I already kind of popped that cherry. I'm like, shit, I already bet 6,000 on a fucking random basketball game. Why wouldn't I drop $4,000 on the random trip that my homie just called me about just to go?
Yeah.
What's going to keep me from doing that? That's the difference.
Let me ask you one final question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uncut Gems, do you feel like that's a pretty accurate representation of somebody that's kind of fallen down the slippery slope with the gambling game, or do you think that movie was kind of blown out of proportion?
That is someone that is on a slippery slope that has gone through Disneyland twice, that has gone through the Matrix. When you are betting, knowing, again, the biggest donkey, when you're betting, knowing that you're probably going to lose, because Adam Sandler says one of the best lines that you're a shitty gambler when you're like, oh, we would have been fucked if he missed that tip. He bet on the opening tip.
Oh my
God. So he already knew that the odds were, again,
on that little tiny detail. On that tiny detail.
The first part of the bet. That was the first part of the bet.
Part of the bet, because the overall the guaranteed money was all he had to do was bet all his money on Kevin Garnett, because he knew Kevin Garnett was going to go off. Whether the Celtics lost, whether the tip-off, he knew Garnett was going to have a game. So imagine if you flip that around. Not only do, again, I don't want no spoilers, so anyone that hasn't seen the movie. But
if you haven't seen the movie, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself at this point.
Yeah,
it's on Netflix. So you have no excuse.
Was it worth it? Was it worth them getting smoked at the end? Hey, that was the risk he's willing to take. But I will say that's where the degenerate comes in.
Oh shit!
I mean, you guys. Hey, Omar, right now you're living in Disneyland. He was living inside that fucking gem. You know what I mean? You saw in his brain what was going through his mentality, his thought process. So yes, man. On that gem.
That is crazy. That
perfect example.
That's crazy that you say that.
Go on.
Yeah, no, like he literally could have just put all that money on like what he felt was secure, but he threw in that fucking tip off, that little tiny detail, which maybe had like crazy odds. I don't know, but like, you know.
And the crazier odds, the biggest gamble is if this guy is fucking knocking on a glass window with a gun, I am not gonna. I am not letting that fucking guy in.
Hell no.
All right?
Hell no. Sees.
You don't keep poking.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, gambling movies. Like, if you were to rate like at least top 3, what would be your top 3 gambling movies?
Top 3 gambling movies for me. Rounders is number 1. Rounders is movie. Best movie fucking ever, right? Now, Omar, a movie that you need to watch, and this is my second favorite, and I don't even know how to stream the motherfucker. It's called Two for the Money.
Two for the money.
2 for the money.
Oh shit! I'm gonna look
Two
that
for
up
the
right
money.
now.
Now, Omar,
I can find out where to stream it. No problem.
Omar, I'm going to give you the synopsis on it. You know what makes that movie great?
Yeah.
Everything that you're doing. So the 2 main characters in the movie is Matthew McConaughey and Al Pacino. Matthew McConaughey was a college football player. He gets fucking injured. They talk about it in the very beginning, and he didn't, NFL teams didn't want to sign him for all these millions of dollars that he would have been worth because he just fucked up his leg. He was damaged goods.
Yeah.
So he gets in. So he lived in Vegas, and was just doing his own shit, working at a telemarketing place, and stumbles across sports bets. So him being a sports guru was betting, people were calling and he was placing bets. Al Pacino finds this guy. Al Pacino brings him to New York and basically tells him, you're not going to bet on the game. What you're going to be doing is we're going to convert you into the best salesman because you're going to talk to people that have money.
Damn.
They're giving you the information. He's like, I want you to be able to call this guy and to convince this guy to bet his fucking house with his family in it.
It's like stocks. It's
on
like
the
stocks.
goddamn Canelo fight.
It's like Wolf of Wall Street.
So exactly. And instead of with stocks, people are calling him. People. It's a sales movie, or it's a sales and gambling mix involved because he is sitting there and he has to sell you to convince you to place that money on a game that you know shit about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Damn.
and he's telling you why. Even if you have to bet against what you don't want to, he has to correct people in that shit. There's even times where he's like, you got to take this thing. And they're like, well, wait a minute. And you find out gambling and you see when money's waved around your face, you see that slippery slope really fast. And that is probably for something for you, Omar, before you place any big bets. Watch that movie and you will reappreciate sitting back, drinking a nice little fucking White Claw, whatever the fuck you're drinking these days. And, that new, I know you're into that new variety pack, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
bro, I fuck with the White Claws.
It'll make you appreciate, it puts a lot of things in perspective because, again, the donkey's that guy that can just lose whatever amount of money that they have. But when it's money, and again, he says probably one of the best lines in the fucking movie that actually, you even fucking feel it. He drops a line on Homeboy, one of the rich ass dude, tycoon guy that lives in like Costa Rica. I don't even know where the fuck he lives. Somewhere fucking nice. It's just one of his, some Epstein type shit, which is another fucking, he lives in some fucking island. It was like him convincing Epstein that, yo, she isn't under 18, dog. He's convincing Epstein to hook up with someone older than 15. You know what I mean? So the line that he drops in that is he tells the rich guy, what amount of money do I need for you to actually feel? Because you bet $1,000 across the board, but if you lose $2 million, do you actually feel that? So he convinces this fucking guy to start betting 10, 20 million. So
Jeez.
again, that's when you start betting
God damn.
where you can feel.
Hmm.
The third movie,
What
Wait.
movie was that again?
2 for the Money.
2 for the Money.
2 for the Money.
I'm
So
watching
Rounders
that
is
tonight.
number 1. Rounders is the GOAT. That's by default because I love poker, but again, it's a phenomenal movie. 2 for the Money. Again, I think Fucker came out in like 2005.
Accurate.
That's a sleeper movie.
Damn, he's on point
And
with
then,
this.
yeah. And then I would say the third movie, I would say, and again, I have mentioned this movie to you guys. I like it because again, it's something that I play. It's something that I really wish I was good at, but it's a toss up. There's a movie. This is a movie recommendation with some gambling involved, or with the majority of gambling. But I do love this movie called Pool Hall Junkies.
I've seen that. That's a good fucking movie. That's a really good movie.
And then there's another one where it's with Tom Cruise and Paul Newman, and it's called The Color of Money.
Color of Money.
And The Color of Money, and that's again, that just it's again when it comes to these sporting
1986.
1986, Tom Cruise in his prime.
Just
in his prime, fucking guy.
Just to answer your question, C's, you can stream 2 for the Money on Stars if you have it.
I have a website.
Yeah, we obviously we can get it for the freeze, but
pirated websites.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say it here to shout it out there because I don't want them to shut down. But the Pool Hall Junkies was an incredible movie, and I think Caesar's the one that recommended that. So that's a sick ass movie.
Great movie, and again, it just goes into it's. It plays into what you like, and a good movie to watch. And this is a shitty ass movie, but this is just only a recommendation because this puts in perspective what not to do in betting. Don't watch Uncut Gems. Is how you fuck up a marriage. You could have lived a nice life with his side piece, all that stuff, but minus Uncut Gems, watch this movie called The Gambler. It's with, I think it's with Mark Wahlberg. Watch that one. And that'll put in perspective someone that gives 2 shits about, he doesn't give a fuck about $1. Whether it's $1. And there's a great scene in that. And that's with John Goodman, and he loans him money, and he's like, you want to be able, he's like, what's the most you've ever won, and do you pay your debt? And he calls him out on that, and dude said it. He's like, I won $2 million. He goes, he's like, if you're a bettor, you want to bet fuck you money that you can walk away and be like, I won $2 million. Fuck you, pay me, right? So you want fuck you money. And I highly recommend watching 2 for the Money and watch The Gambler, and you'll see the perspective of someone that gives 2 shits and then someone that cares, but also, they go the mixed emotions from winning and losing. So that's something that I highly recommend because you see, again, you see both sides of the spectrum. When it comes to the betting.
I'm taking notes of all these movies. Going to watch them within the next week. And actually, Caesar gives some dope ass recommendations off movies. This guy knows movies.
Yes, sir.
But hey, C's straight up. I want to just thank you for hopping on the show. I don't know if you're still in your car or what the fuck you're doing, but
yeah, man.
I'm still on Google looking up Canelo's next fight. My 2 things I just looked up is when is Canelo fighting, and how the fuck do I find you for the money?
I'll send you the link. But
oh man,
but C's, man, like
yeah, 100%. Thank you,
was
man.
That was some crazy knowledge. You dropped some crazy ass stories, and this is what I love, man. I love like Caesar is knowledgeable on that topic, you know. So I love just getting people that are very knowledgeable on a topic to talk on the podcast. Because
Yep, yes, sir.
you know, this is some interesting shit, man.
Yeah, C's. Yeah, thank you for hopping on Plam Chowder, and I'm sure that people that are gambling, they're taking notes right now as we speak on all this shit. And yeah, thank you for being on the pod, man.
Hell yeah, bro.
Hey, I appreciate it, fellas. Thank you for having me on.
Hell yeah, man. We'll text you after this, but
Yeah.
fucking have a good night. Have a good weekend, bro. We love you.
Yeah. Love you too, guys. All right.
Bye.
Later.
Like,
Woo!
that was some good stuff there, man.
Hour and a half of just learning how to be a degenerate.
No,
it's good. It's good.
I love it. See, that's the shit I love. See, like this is why I want to continue to get guests on the show, because with guests, you know, you got people that are extremely knowledgeable on a specific topic, and you talk about that topic, and they drop some fucking dope ass knowledge.
Straight up, you're going to college right now, man.
Yeah, some real knowledge that's very hard to find unless you know somebody that's well versed in that topic. And the more people that we can get on the show that are willing to talk about maybe like a specific area, doesn't matter what it is, people want to hear this, you know? That's what made JRE successful. He's got people from all these different backgrounds and whatnot. So like, if you're out there, you got some sick ass knowledge you want to share, whatever it is, hit us up.
Hey, look, you can literally rate crayons for a living, and we'll be like, yeah, you're gonna go on the show.
And to give you guys some context, I think I was on like 6ix9ine's. So 6ix9ine has probably the most followers on Instagram out of anybody, fucking millions of people. And his comment section is wild, man. Like, I don't know if you ever dove into the comment section, but you go into the comment section, and I saw this one comment, and there was a guy, all he said was, "I rate crayons. Follow me." And that hooked me. That was a good subject line.
Oh shit!
You know, I clicked on his shit. This dude has like 400,000 followers.
Dude, what?
400,000 followers. And you know what he does? He literally rates crayons. He takes either a crayon box or a specific crayon, and he writes like a hella detailed rating, like so fucking strategic and detailed and eloquent about this crayon. That's all he does. The dude's got 400,000 followers. But that's what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. So we're gonna extend our invitation to anyone that's listening. You know, shout out to our homies in France, the London, Romania. I mean, wherever you are in the world, you can reach out to us. You can follow us on @PlamChowder on either Instagram, Twitter, or on our landing page on Anchor. Just reach out to us that, yo, I got some shit that you guys like would not even phantom. Like, yo, that's what we're about. We want to encourage everyone to just reach out to us and collaborate, because this is what it's all about.
Hit us up. We can conference you in. But I mean, just in case, you know, people are shy or whatever, we have a lot. We're very lucky to have a lot of interesting friends who work in some very interesting fields, have a lot of sick ass knowledge on topics, and best believe that we will have more guests coming up in the future. And I hope you enjoyed this content. Hope you guys learned a little bit about the degenerate lifestyle. Maybe a few of you guys open an account on Bovada and start placing some bets. Who knows? But the whole point of this is to just give you guys a different perspective from a lot of random people, and just learn something and be entertained.
All right, guys, this has been a fun podcast. Thank you guys for listening, for watching, whatever the case may be, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Pussy does not ever stink.
Oh my God.
Well, now it don't. I mean, really.
Adios, motherfuckers. Make sure to add us on Instagram and Twitter at Plam Chowder.